Good morning. Welcome back to my channel. My name's Tom. It's been a few days since I've posted a video. Okay, well, it's been 1,155 days. So it's been a while. It's been busy. I've been busy. It's hard to do this. It's hard to record all this stuff. Life gets in the way sometimes. So today we're going to fix a car. We're working on a 2015 Ram 1500 with a Hemi. It's got a check fuel cap light and a check engine light on. I have a pretty good idea what it is, but we're going to do a couple of tests, take some data, and do some explanation. So it's Saturday morning at 6 a.m. It's raining. It's Pennsylvania. It's normal. Okay, let's get to it. Okay, we're in the truck right now, and we're going to verify the concern. I've already plugged in the Autel MS919, and we're ready to go. I'm sorry about the blurry. It won't come into very good focus. Let's fire it up and see what we got. Ooh, she barks. Hope it doesn't wake the neighbors. Alright, we got a check engine light over there. Oh, we got a little truck. It says check fuel cap, and we have a little light on right there. So let's go over here to the scan tool. I'm not going to scan for everything today. We're concentrating on the PCM. I've already opened this, but we're going to go into control unit. You can see powertrain is already blue. We're going to go there. Then we're going to select engine control module, and we'll wait. And we're going to look at the trouble codes. Okay, so we've got a P0456 evaporative emission system small leak. And we also have a P0457 evaporative emission system loose fuel cap. So, well, I suppose you could just toss a cap on here and see if anything works. See if it works, but I don't think that's what's going on. So we're going to look at some data, and we're going to prove this out. Whoops. Let's go to live data. And with a Chrysler, there's three things I like to look at for an emissions problem. Whether it's a leak, whether it's a P0441, a general failure, or whatever. So the very first thing we're going to look for, well, you know what? We're going to type it in, because is the ESIM. This is the evap system integrity monitor, and we want to know this Chrysler uses this ESIM for leak detection. It does have a fuel tank pressure sensor. I think this truck will have one, but it doesn't use that for diagnostics. It doesn't use the fuel tank pressure sensor for diagnosing a leak. Okay, let's see if we can get something else. Let's type in fuel tank. Let's see, fuel tank pressure. Yep, it's got it. Oh, we're in inches of water. I don't like inches of water. Let's see if we can change that. That's it. I like pascals. Alright, so we're going to select that, and then we're going to select one more, which is purge percentage, which by now this should be running. Purge duty cycle. Okay, and we are going to show the selected. Okay, so the top one is the purge duty. Right now we're running at 30% duty cycle. The ESIM switch is still open, and how the ESIM switch works on a Chrysler is at about minus 175 to 200 pascals, which is negative pressure. It should open, or it should close and seal the system. And right now, even though we're at minus 500, we're still open. So either we have a big leak or we have a bad ESIM. And we're going to do a quick test to figure that out. So let's just real quick turn the truck off. And let's watch the pressure and see what happens with it. Now it's holding pretty good. I mean, I know it's coming down, but you know, it's warm outside. There's pressure in the tank. But I wouldn't call that a large leak. It may not even be a small leak. So I'm going to take the truck in and we're going to jack it up. I'm going to rotate tires and do an oil change and start working on back brakes. But once I get it up, I'll bring you back and we'll take a look at the ESIM. We're going to do a really quick test and determine whether the ESIM is good or bad, or if we possibly have a leak. So I'll bring you back as soon as I'm up. So here we are under the truck. This is the ESIM is located up here. I'll get you a better picture of it soon. That's not good for my scan tool. So just to give you a general idea, here's the differential, gas tank, ESIM. So, all right. So, let me get up there closer. I'm probably making you all dizzy or something, giving you vertigo. All right. So that's the ESIM. The EVAP System Integrity Monitor. So let's just take a look. This is the same data, and the truck's been off for probably an hour. I rotated the tires and oil change and stuff before, but you can see we're still holding vacuum at minus 182 pascals, and my switch is open, which like it was at minus 500. Let's see. So what we're gonna do, I hope I brought the wire. Am I that unprepared? All right, we're gonna unplug this. First thing we're gonna do is check for corrosion. And that looks pretty good. Around here, these often rot out. Let's take a look inside the switch. It's hard to see, but those look clean. So, all right, we're gonna try to stabilize you here. I should have a wire down here. Hang on. So what I have is, these are just some leftover terminals from a wiring connector kit. I just got them wired together. This isn't like brain surgery or anything. So what we're gonna do is, this is just a simple on-off switch. We're going to it's hard to work one-handed. All right, we're gonna just stick these in here. Doing a simple bypass test, and then we're going to look at the data, and we're going to see that our ESIM switch is now reporting closed. So what this does is this verifies that the circuit's intact, the PCM can see that the valve is closed, and so we know that that's all good, and we probably have a bad ESIM. So let me prepare this for removal. ESIM switch, purge duty cycle. The key is off, and we're still holding a vacuum. It's probably been an hour and a half, something like that, maybe 2 hours. I don't know. All right, I'll be right back. Now, I was a little bit prepared. I got an ESIM here yesterday, and it's genuine Chrysler, made in the United States, part number for this truck, and there it is. let's open this up, see what we got. Okay, there's a gasket. This doesn't come with the ESIM. You have to get this separate, so don't forget it. Don't leave it out. Even then you'll have a big leak. So we'll set that there, and then this is what the ESIM really looks like. So it just has this weight in there that's all it does. It turns on and it turns off. And this indicates that there's vacuum in the system at a certain, level. And it also acts as the vent for the evap system. I'll go into this a little bit more in detail at the end here. But let's get this mounted up. To get it off, we have this little tab, and we actually have to push it and then rotate it about 30 degrees. And then these will release. It'll come off, and then let's get under there and do that. Okay, we're back under here right now. So while the ESIM, I can get my phone up there, and you can see pretty much the whole thing. I can't get my hands anywhere near this tab that's at the bottom. It would be really nice if it was up top. So we got to take this hose off. Hopefully it survives. Jiggling you all over the place. All right. Let's see what we can do here. Okay. That was tougher than I wanted it to be. So we're going to pop this speed nut off. All right. If you don't live in the Rust Belt, this will survive. This may or may not survive here, but that's okay. I got other ones. I got some to replace it. So I'm just gonna simply put this behind here first. Get it loose. Get it started. Okay. All right. This one's gonna be ugly. All right, there we go. And it's off. So if you don't like a little brutality, it'd be best if you looked away. So what I'm going to do is I'm not taking this whole thing off. I usually just bend this out of the way a little. If you don't like this idea, now's the time to look away. I needed both hands. I had used one hand to push the little tab, and you want to bring it like towards the back of the truck like that. And I've got it turned up there, so now I'm started to turn. I just got it up, released it from its locking place, and then I'll show you. All right, here we go. You can see that I have it turned a little bit. I got it off its tab at the bottom. All you gotta do, turn it about that far. Uh-oh. Oh, it went back on. Oh, you bugger. There we go. Just turn it, pull it out, and there's the gasket. Okay. We'll pick that baby right out of there. All right, now I'm going to tell you that I'm going to use my trusty Vaseline to hold that gasket in place while I do this. My advice is, and well, really advice, do not goober this up with Vaseline. You just want a few little dots around it, because you don't want the Vaseline to get in that ESIM and stick that weight. That would just completely defeat the purpose. So there's the new gasket with a little tiny bit of Vaseline. Okay, make sure that hose is all the way on. Plugged in good. That's good. All right. Here's my retainer. Generally, if you just give them a couple taps, I'm using a body hammer. Any kind of hammer would work. I'm not a body guy. As long as they're not cracked anywhere, we're just going to use a socket and push it back on And we're good to go. That didn't work. Done. Okay, now we're going to go back into the truck and we're going to start it. We're going to watch our data, and then we have 2 tests we have to do that you have to do to turn the light off. I'm hoping that the Altel can do it, because if it can't, I'll have to use YTech, and it's always a pain in the butt. We're in the car now. Now, I've made a mistake. Not a mistake. I lost some footage. So I've deleted the codes on this truck. And I'm going to turn the ignition on. Let's see what happens. Still have the check engine light's not on anymore, but we still got this. So what we're going to have to do to get rid of this, well, now the check engine light's on. Let's reread the codes. P0456 VVAP emission system small leak. Okay, so it says it's active, but really it's not. We have to do a test to clear this code. It would clear itself in some with the right amount of trips, but we don't want to return. We don't want this to have any problems. Let's see if I can find what I'm looking for. I'm looking actually for the ESIM. Oops, that went too far. The ESIM force monitor test. So let's try special functions. Oh boy. I don't see it here. Let's try something else. System. Check. ESIM force monitor test. Whew. Let's see if this works. You can see what that says. It allows technician to run the large leak loose cap monitor without meeting all the enabling criteria. So we're going to go okay. Engine must not be running. Start engine. Now I'm going to have to, I'll probably break away from this until it's done. There's a whole lot of steps. Let's see what happens. I'll be right back. Okay, so here we go. Test has completed successfully. You can see that large leak test in progress, false because it's already done it. Large leak test complete, true. Large leak test failed, false. And large leak test passed, true. So we're gonna hit OK. And now it's gonna do one more thing. Oh, I guess that's it. So if you look up on the dash, the little light's on. Now I've got to go back in and clear this code. It ought to be stored. And it is. So we'll clear that out. Oh, dummy. All right. The code is stored. So we're going to clear it. Ignition on, engine off. Yes. Yes. Trouble code's not detected. So let's turn the key off. We'll count to 10. Uh-oh, my battery's low. All right, let's see what happens. Okay. Dash is lighting up. Check check engine light is out. Notice that the little truck doesn't come up, and the little cap light is off. So that's good. So really, without filming, this would probably taken me about a half hour to test, maybe even less. And it was a good job, and it would pay good, and it didn't require, here, try this gas cap and go again. Now, I will say I've tried to look at this data with not on this truck, but on a different vehicle, with one of those handheld code readers. Mine's a Launch. Just because I wanted to see if that OBD2, it doesn't have this information. It doesn't have the ESIM, it doesn't have the purge percent, and it doesn't have fuel tank pressure. Also, it doesn't have the capability to run that ESIM force monitor test. So you would need a more enhanced scan tool than one of those code readers. So that's where we are. Just a couple minutes here, I will kind of give a better explanation of the ESIM. So one more thing that I noticed about the Autel, which I guess I probably knew this, but I couldn't find the small leak verification test. Now, I might check some other scan tools. I know it's in the YTech. It works great in the YTech. It can keep you from doing any kind of leak detection if it passes. Often these Chryslers have, I don't know, like technical service bulletins. The PCM has updates for evap system small leak detected. It must change something in the program that allows, you know, different time, something of that nature. But it doesn't have this particular car. The Autel doesn't have that small leak verification test, and that's an awesome test. Hey, I guess we're rolling. All right, it's Sunday afternoon, and I didn't finish this last night because, well, I was in the garage until 10 o'clock, and I started at 6 a.m. Well, that included a 2.5 hour round trip to go get parts, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, so I told you I'd give you an explanation, a quick explanation about this ESIM. ESIM stands for Evap System Integrity Monitor. How this little fellow works is, it's got a switch in here, a two contact switch, and it's got a couple of weights in here. We can see the small weight down that way, up that way, or either way, whatever. So what this thing does, the PCM through a resistor sends out a 12 volt, or some of these have 5 volt signal. So it's looking for that signal to either have that 12 or 5 volts on it, or go to 0 volts when this switch grounds. So that's how it knows if the ESIM's open or closed. And that's what we tested yesterday with the wire, because one of those wires go to ground, and one of those wires, it goes to 12 volts. Now, could I have used a meter and tested those? Yes, but honestly, that's a waste of time, because it's just a simple 2-wire switch to ground. If you bypass it and it goes closed, you know it's good. You couldn't light a test light with that 12 volts. It's not that kind of 12 volts. It goes through a resistor. It's not carrying any kind of load. It's just a feedback. So a real quick explanation, and I'm going to let everybody go because it's been a long day. So, or long day yesterday. This part of it is a little diaphragm that has a vacuum diaphragm that has 2 contacts in it, and it closes the circuit to the connector, ground or open. So what happens with this, how this works, this is where the vent, and there's a filter further somewhere else. When the purge valve is working, when the engine's running and making vacuum, it actually pulls this little small pressure relief off of its seat and allows allows fresh air in here to go through the charcoal where it's collected fumes from the gas tank, and then it burns them off in the engine as, you know, part of the combustion process. When this is sitting still and there's no vacuum on it, it is closing off the system to the atmosphere. So when the car's off, this is closed. This seals it. So while the car's off, when you shut the car off, there's a certain amount of time it watches this little fella here, and it's looking for that. It's going to should be in a vacuum state, and it's looking for the time of the decay of the vacuum to set the small leak. If it's open or the switch is bad, you know, it's going to throw a small leak code because it never closes. But it also keeps pressure down inside the tank. There's two valves. One we can't see. The one you can see is the vacuum relief. The other one is the pressure relief. So like on a hot day, you know, you can get, I don't know, 200 pascals of positive pressure because the fuel is evaporating and making pressure. You know, you ever picked up your gas tank when it's hot and it's all expanded out, you know, a little 1 gallon tank, and when it's cold it shrinks in? Well, we don't want that to happen on a plastic gas tank in your car. I mean, it doesn't sound like it'd be very good for it, does it? So that's what this little fella does. And we talked about the fuel pressure sensor. The only thing that they use the fuel pressure sensor, or fuel tank pressure sensor, I'm sorry, is to it's for the purge. It's testing the purge to see if, when it's commanded open, if there's a change in vacuum, and when it's turned off, if there's a decay in vacuum. And we kind of saw that yesterday. You know, after 2 hours, our vacuum decayed from like minus 500 pascals to minus 183, and that's a pretty good indication that there's no small leak. Because if there was a small leak, that would have been at 0 or even at whatever atmospheric pressure. You know, I know it's usually 50 pascals or whatever. So that's the explanation on that. And also, there's a couple spots in the video where when I was reinstalling the new one of these, somehow my camera did that in slow motion, so I cut that out, so you didn't see the actual install. But you know, that's it. That's the whole install. So I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm going to make some more. It's kind of difficult sometimes because, you know, doing this takes a long time. It's I don't know, it's just kind of fussy. So hey, thanks for watching. I hope you come back and watch again. I am going to try to make more, and maybe I'll even get my wife to film for me. I don't know. I have to get over that weird talking thing. So thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good day.